Hello, this is Phil Hogan from Hutchison & Company Chartered Accountants, and this is another cross-border tax update. Today we're going to talk about the 3 questions I most frequently get from U.S. citizens in Canada. 3 of the most common questions I get from U.S. citizens living in Canada are as follows. First, I'm a U.S. citizen living in Canada. Do I have to file tax returns in the U.S. even if I don't have U.S. source income? So the general answer to that question is yes. Unless you meet a fairly low threshold of income, you need to file tax returns in both Canada and the U.S. regardless of whether you have U.S. source income. Now that leads us to our second question. The second question I get, if I am filing in both countries, am I going to be double taxed? So although you're filing tax returns in both countries, and although you're reporting your worldwide income on both returns, so let's say you earn $100,000 in Canada as employment income, and let's say that's your only income. You would file a tax return in Canada to report the $100,000, but you would also file a tax return in the US to report the $100,000 of income on your US tax return. Now that's where the treaty would come in, or some exemptions that might be available on the 1040 return. In order to avoid double taxation, in most cases, you would take advantage of the foreign tax credit system on the US tax return. So what would happen, you would tax $100,000 of income on your Canadian return, and then $100,000 of income on your US return, and any tax that you paid in Canada would come down to the US and would credit out the tax that would result from the US return. So in many cases, you would file a Canadian tax return, pay tax to Canada, file a US tax return, and pay no tax to the US because you paid enough tax in Canada and it would credit out all the US taxes you would owe. So that would be the answer to the second most frequent question. The third question I get is, if I haven't filed US tax returns and I live in Canada and I'm delinquent in filing those tax returns, can I not just simply renounce my US citizenship and get away from filing my late tax returns? Unfortunately not. When you renounce your US citizenship, you're also required to file tax returns, or before you renounce your citizenship, you're required to have filed tax returns for the last 5 years. Currently, the IRS has what they call the Streamlined Tax Filing Program. So for those that are interested in catching up their US tax returns or thinking about renouncing, they must first get compliant with the US before they can either hand in their green card or renounce their US citizenship. So to recap, question number 1. If I'm a US citizen living in Canada, am I required to file tax returns in the US even if I don't have US source income? So the answer is yes. You report on both sides of the border. Question number 2, how do I avoid double taxation? In most cases, U.S. citizens living in Canada that have Canadian source income only will only pay tax in Canada, and as long as the tax rate in Canada is high enough, they should be able to eliminate most of the U.S. tax they owe. And question number 3, can I renounce my U.S. citizenship and avoid any U.S. taxes that I need to file for previous years? And unfortunately, the answer to the question is no. You first need to catch up your U.S. tax returns before you can renounce your U.S. citizenship. So hopefully that's been helpful. If you need help on any U.S. tax matters, please give me a call at 250-381-2400 or send me an email at phil@hutchison.ca. I'll make sure to leave my contact information below, and we'd love for you to visit the website and check out our articles on the website and any other videos that we might have posted on U.S. tax and cross-border tax matters. Thank you.